Okay. And, right around that time, you were on the cover of the DoU XL Freshman issue. And that has an interesting lineup.
Yeah, man.
Kendrick Lamar, Meek Mill, Sci-Hi the Prince, Diggy Simmons, Mac Miller, Fred the Godson, Lil Twist, Big Crit, Lil B, and YG, and you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting lineup, man. Like, there's a lot of successful artists came out of that crew. Rest in peace, Mac Miller,
Yeah.
by the way. Hey, my
Yeah,
dude.
that was a sad
That was
one,
my
man.
dude, man.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
That was my homie. And we never did music together, man, but we were always like in communication. You know? We just had that kind of relationship, man. It's like big bro shit. Miss him, dude.
Yeah, he was dope. I was actually the first website to actually feature one of his music videos. I forgot the name of it, but it was like this video with like this red umbrella that was just so dope. This was way before he put out his first project, and you could just tell how talented he was early on.
He's just a kid, man. Like, it's unbelievable, actually. But
yeah,
he was a blessing, man. We were lucky to have him.
Yep. Well, you put that out. You put out Radioactive, and then you kind of had some interesting projects that next year. You and Ed Sheeran actually had a collab EP, Slumdon Bridge.
Yeah, I didn't know who Ed Sheeran was at the time. Well, I mean, but to be fair, he was doing like 300, 400 cap rooms at the time, like if that. I don't think he was doing even that in the States quite yet. But the word that I was given was like, hey, there's a kid named Ed Sheeran just signed. We got a lot of, faith in this kid, and he wants to come over and do a record with you're his favorite rapper. And I was like in LA, like, I don't know what I was hanging out with Travis Barker or some shit. And we had just done a bunch of interviews, and Jada was like, hey man, we got to slide through the studio. You got to meet this kid, Ed Sheeran. I was like, who? Why? Like, who is this kid? Like, oh no, he's a big fan. He just got signed. Trust me, it's a good move. It's a good move. It's like, all right, man. Well, I walked through the studio and like instantly got along with him. And hadn't heard any of his music before I stepped in the studio. And so we vibed. We vibed immediately. We cut like 5 records during that session, cut 5 ideas. And then then became the biggest artist in the world. And
right.
And
it's crazy.
Yeah, I know. And I didn't see him again in person till last Slump Fest, which was 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
About 4, yeah.
About 4 years ago, he popped up at one of my shows. That's the only time I've seen him again. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, no, he became an absolute monster. Like he does massive stadiums at this point.
Yeah. I guess I'm like a warlock. I'm just ding. Just blessed him.
Okay, so yep. So I mean, you had a few other projects. You dropped the EP with Travis Barker, Psycho White.
Yeah.
You and DJ Paul had a collab EP together, Black Fall.
Yeah.
And then in 2015, you released Love Story.
Well, we're missing Trump Music. Trump Music 3?
2.
Trump Music 2? No. That what?
Did you say Trump Music?
Trump Music 3 was before Love Story. Yeah.
Oh no,
because
we did Trunk Music. Trunk Music Returns came out before.
Yeah, Trump Music Returns.
Yeah. Trump Music 3 was
yeah.
Yeah. Trump Music Returns. Yeah, it was the part 2. Yeah, you're right. Because Love Story, because Tennessee Love, we cut on Trump Music Returns, which became the seed to Love Story. Yeah.
Right. And then Love Story comes out in 2015, and that becomes your most successful project, with Till It's Gone going platinum for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
How did that feel to finally have, and this came out number 3 on Billboard, Till It's Gone, goes platinum. You know, Best Friend with Eminem also went platinum. The album goes gold. How did it feel to finally get the commercial success after working at it for decades?
I um yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't really, I wasn't really, of course I was happy, you know what I mean? Like I had moments of like, oh, this is tight, but the crowds just got bigger. You know what I mean? The shows got bigger, but I was more into cultivating like the Slamerican culture. You know what I mean? Like that the whole idea of like when we did Tennessee Love before we stepped in the studio to cut Love Story, I had Robbie Turner come in there and do lap still over this record. And Robbie Turner played with Johnny Cash, you know, everybody. He's played with everybody. He's a legendary lap steel player. Pedal steel. And I was kicking it with Joshua Headley at the time, and Joshua would show up in cowboy boots, and I kept like, I was like, man, and this is why we're cutting Trump Music Returns. I was like, dude, like, I think I'm ready for that phase in my life, man. I think I'm ready to take it there. Like, you know, I can bring this to hip hop like it's never been done before. I saw something, you know. I saw the leather jackets and the full brimmed hats and the snakeskin cowboy boots and the Harleys and the, you know, whiskey and dive bars and that whole thing that was happening in my life. I wanted for it to translate visually alongside of this record. And that to me was the focus. I wasn't focused on what the numbers were. I was more in tune with the fan base. The most important part, really. I just wanting them to understand the evolution of Yelawolf and how I got to that point. And it wasn't just a fucking costume. These things were pieces of my history, you know what I mean? And pieces of my musical history. And it was a blend of, you know, another thing that I wanted to bring back and make clear is this is core hip hop, really. You know, if you look at like 70s street fashion in New York, 78, 79, that's all this really is. This, you know, the denim vests, the leather jackets, the hats, the boots. You can look it up. You know, I was just blending those styles, and then also with the country and rock and all that. But the fashion side of it was a real huge piece of everything, really. You know what I mean? Like everything kind of coming together perfectly, and and it let me loose. It let me loose from sneakers. You know what I mean? From tennis shoes and, you know, like a certain thing. I didn't have to be a certain thing anymore. It was that shit was a wrap. You know, I found my freedom. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and that's a great, I take a great deal of inspiration from, you know, like Andre 3000 and as an artist that I watched like gracefully do anything he wanted to do, you know? And I wanted to bring that to my own career because I am that.
Well, you have said that you and Bubba Sparks were some of the pioneers that kind of fused, you know, country music and rap music. You know, you look at kind of where it's going these days. For example, you know, Old Town Road became the first #1 country song done by a hip hop artist, if you want to call him that. And now you see, for example, for the first time in my lifetime, country music is actually dominating the charts to the point where Beyonce dropped a country album. How do you feel, like from your point of view, as someone that's been doing it for a while, how do you feel about how country music is being embraced right now in hip hop?
I think it's great, you know? I think that, look, man, there's enough to go around. in music. I don't feel like there's any gatekeeper to any genre, and anyone should be allowed to do anything they want to do. I'll just say that for the record. I don't care if you're a hip hop artist and you want to go do some country, or you're a country artist that wants to go do some rap shit, like whatever. Feel free. You know, because if you can pull it off, more power to you. It's difficult. You know what I mean? And so, you know, look, man, I've been friends with Jelly Roll for over 20 years, you know? And I took Jelly Roll on tour with me twice and to open for me. And look what's happened with Jelly, you know? And I think, you know, and Jelly's got Slamerican tattooed down his arm. You know, that's how core we are, you know? And then when he went on tour, what did he do? He took me and 3 6 Mafia with him. You know, the same package that I had at Slumfest. Me, Jelly, DJ Paul, Gangsta Boo. You know, he took that formula and made it acceptable for the world. And you know, he's kicked down a lot of doors for that to happen, you know? So, you know, I've been a part of the story for a lot of artists, you know, been weaving in and out of artists' lives, you know, and then I've seen a lot of artists just take off, from Ed Sheeran to Jelly Roll, you know, or doing shows with Kendrick Lamar in Atlanta, watching that happen, you know, and then B.O.B., you know what I mean? Like, there's been a lot, you know, and I there's more. I just don't want to sit here and go down the line, but to see what's happening with country music now, as it pertains to my influence, I don't know, man. I think like all roads, you know, they do lead back to one place. You know what I mean? And I just happen to be an exit off of that map that was, people stopped in a lot, you know? They came and got gas. You know what I'm saying? They jumped off my exit, they got gas, and they kept it moving. And but I'm proud of that, you know? Not everybody checked in, but a great deal did, you know? And yeah, I'm very proud of that. But you know, I jumped off exits on my own too, for my own influence. It's just I brought a certain influence to the game that was new. Where I was grabbing my influences were very unique. Like my chopping, like all that jump on the patio bike, like a Pakistani get back in the Mac 11, all that wordplay. That I got that from bluegrass, man. That's hanging out at Foggy Hollow with my uncles watching bigger, you know what I mean? All that double time shit. I just added syllables and wordplay to it. So there was that part. And then my melodies were coming from deep classic rock and old Motown and like, you know, and country, you know? So it's like, it took a while to bring it all together, but when it came together right. But, you know, as far as, you know, like country hip hop goes, I mean, like Let's Roll, it might have sparked some shit, but you can close the book at Trial by Fire, because after I put that record out, like that, you know, I said all I had to say about that whole genre. And, you know, I tipped my hat to it, and I just kept it moving. I was over it.